Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into two phrases that might seem incredibly simple on the surface, but are actually keys to unlocking a much deeper understanding of the Chinese language. We're not just going to memorize vocabulary today, oh no. We're going to treat these words like linguistic artifacts, uncovering the logic, the structure, and even the cultural mindset that's baked right into them.
So let's frame our entire session around this one big question. How can something as basic as this way and that way tell us so much? Well, as you're about to see, by carefully dissecting these phrases, we can uncover some really fundamental principles of character construction, grammatical logic, and, maybe most importantly, crucial cultural etiquette. So let's get started.
Here's our lesson plan for today. First, we'll cover the foundational phrases themselves. Then, and this is the fun part, we'll deconstruct the characters to see where they come from. After that, we'll look at the grammar and how to use them in the real world, explore the vital cultural context around giving directions, and finally, we'll wrap up by making sure we're pronouncing everything perfectly.
All right, let's begin with section 1, the basics. These two phrases right here are the building blocks for our entire analysis today.
Okay, first up we have 这边, pronounced 这边. Now this literally translates to this side, and we use it to mean this way or over here. The key concept to grasp is proximity. It's all about a location that's relatively close to you, the speaker. Now, let's talk tones, because they are absolutely critical. The first character, 这, is the fourth tone. It's a sharp, falling sound. Try it with me. 这. Good. The second character, 边, is the first tone. Nice and high and flat, kind of like you're holding a single musical note. 边. So putting it all together, we get 这边.
And of course, the natural counterpart to that is 那边, pronounced 那边. This one means that way or over there. So if 这边indicates something is close, 那边indicates distance. It's for a location further away from you. This simple distinction between here and there, between 这and 那, is really one of the most fundamental building blocks of spatial language in all of Mandarin.
Okay, now that we've got the basics down, let's peel back another layer. Section 2. You see, to truly master these words and not just memorize them, we need to understand their components. We have to decode the characters. This, for me, is where the language really comes alive.
Now, take a look at the character zhe, or ZH. This is fascinating. It's actually made up of two distinct parts, what we call radicals. On the left, you've got ci, which is the walk radical. It actually comes from the ancient character for a foot, so it always implies some kind of motion or location. It immediately grounds the character in a physical, spatial context. Then look at the part on the inside, when, or when. This character is associated with language, literature, or culture. So when you put them together, zhe isn't just a simple pointer for this. You can think of it as this place that is both physically reachable and can be talked about. It's a beautiful idea, isn't it? Our immediate reality is shaped by where we can walk and what we can say.
Now, let's look at the second character that brings it all together. 边, 边. This character means side, edge, or border. So when we combine the characters we just looked at, 这, this, with 边, side, we get 这边, which literally means this side. And the exact same logic applies to 那边, that side. It's a perfect example of how logical and almost modular the Chinese language can be. You're not just saying here, you're specifying this side of the space, relative to me.
All right, so we've taken apart the engine, we've looked at all the pieces. Now let's put it all back together and see how it works in the real world. Section 3 is all about grammar and practical everyday use.
Let's listen to a very, very common exchange you'll hear all the time. Person A might ask, 请问洗手间在哪边? Hear that polite questioning tone? It's got a slight rise at the end. Then the response is simple and direct, 在那边. Notice how declarative and confident that sounds. It's a statement of fact. This little two-part conversation, a polite question and a direct answer, is an absolute cornerstone of daily interaction in China. You will use this constantly.
And this brings us to a really crucial grammar point. The phrase we just heard, 在那边, uses the verb 在, which means to be at. It's a statement of location. The destination is that way. It's passive. But if you want to give a command, an actual instruction for someone to move, you have to use a totally different structure. Wang, 那边, so. Here, Wang means towards, and so means to walk. The key word is go. Confusing these two is the difference between telling someone where the library is and telling them to go to the library. This distinction is absolutely fundamental.
Okay, Now we've arrived at what I personally think is the most important part of our discussion today. Section 4, Cultural Insight. Because you see, speaking a language correctly is one thing, but communicating effectively, politely, and respectfully, well, that requires a deep understanding of the culture where that language lives. This is what separates a textbook student from a truly competent communicator, especially if you plan on living or working in a Chinese-speaking country.
Let's break these down because they are all non-negotiable. First, always use clear hand gestures. This isn't just helpful, it shows a real willingness to connect and make sure you're understood, bridging any language gap. Now, second, and this is critical, always point with an open hand, not a single finger. Pointing with an index finger can come across as rude, aggressive, or even accusatory. An open palm is a gesture of offering, of gentle guidance, and it reflects a deep cultural preference for harmony. Third, politeness in address. For strangers, and especially for elders, you must use the formal you, which is nin. Using this immediately signals your respect for social hierarchy and your cultural awareness. And finally, it's always good practice to verbally confirm the understand. A simple "明白了吗" or "understood" shows that you genuinely care about helping them. Mastering these little details shows immense cultural intelligence.
Okay, let's move on to our final section, mastering the pronunciation. We've got the theory, we've got the grammar, we've got the cultural context. Now, let's make sure our delivery is flawless. There are two really common mistakes I hear all the time. First, for j, a lot of English speakers want to say zay. The correct sound is j. That j sound is like the J in the word jump. To make it, you need to curl the tip of your tongue back just a bit so it's touching the roof of your mouth, then release the sound. And that fourth tone has to be a quick, sharp drop in pitch, like a command. J. Let's try it again. J. Perfect. For bien, the mistake is breaking it into two syllables, like bien. It's one smooth syllable. Bien. And the tone is the first tone, high and flat. Imagine you're singing a note and just holding it. Bien. Getting these sounds and tones right is non-negotiable for being understood clearly.
So, to bring it all home, we started with two very simple phrases, "je bien" and "na bien." But I hope you see now that they are so much more than that. They are a window into how a language is built on a logic of movement and communication, how its grammar carefully separates location from action, and how its daily use is deeply woven into a culture of respect, clarity, and harmony.
And that leaves me with a final thought for you all to take with you. As you continue your studies, I encourage you, don't just learn words, investigate them. Apply this same deep dive approach to other parts of the language. And you know what? Even to your own native tongue. Ask yourself this: what everyday words in your own language hold a hidden history, a forgotten logic, or a cultural secret just waiting for you to come along and decode it?